Hey y'all, hey y'all, hey y'all. Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back, welcome back, welcome back, welcome back to another episode of the Redefining Wellness podcast. It's your girl Neek, and I hope that you are feeling wonderful, awesome. Hey, Chad, let's try that again. It's amazing. And all the things that makes you you. Of course, I did myself the disservice and I took a nap today, which is why my voice no longer is warmed up. But hello, hi, good day. Hey, y'all, welcome back to the podcast that helps you to redefine the way that you view wellness one episode at a time so that you can be healthy unapologetically and authentically, so that you can take up as much space on this earth as you want to. New friends. Hola, ¿cómo estás? Our friends that have been here before. Y'all know the vibes. I hope that y'all are doing great. I had to take a little bit of time because my birthday. Shout out to me, I turned 37. And that is actually the bulk of today's episode is talking about the unexpected grief that I experienced in turning 37. And I honestly did not have the language to express that I was feeling that until I actually had a really good conversation with one of the members at my Orange Theory studio. But the child are doing amazing. Like I said, I had to take some time off. I celebrated my birthday. I celebrated friends' birthdays. My friends celebrated my birthday. My friends celebrated my birthday. Any hoozles. But I really do hope that y'all are doing great. And I also wanted to recap the 36, but I actually, when I wrote it down, 39 things that I've learned since turning 37. I mean, since turning 36, child, listen. But before we get into this week's episode, don't forget, as always, to like, rate, review, subscribe, and please share with a friend. Tell a friend to tell a friend because that helps this show to reach other eyes and other ears. But before we get into the plethora of things that I've learned during the year of 36 and the space of grief, which I haven't really talked to my therapist about it fully yet. I'll talk to her about that on Tuesday. But before we get into that, y'all know we got to do our segments. So, starting off with what's Neek watching. And your girl has finished Running Point. I actually finished Running Point a little bit after my birthday. And I might have already talked about this, but it's okay. We're going to talk about it again. Kate Hudson, fabulous. Loved her in this role. She was so playful. She was so fun. But I think I've always only known Kate Hudson in a playful and in a fun type of role. Jay Ellis, different role. I think I'm a little too connected to him being Lawrence that I wasn't feeling this probably the way that I should have felt this. He did great. I will say he did great. He was awesome. But I feel like I was so connected to him being Lawrence on Insecure that I struggled a little bit with seeing him as this character of Coach Jay on this show. Ness is my favorite character, absolute favorite character. Ness and Jackie, favorite characters. But it was really good. Octavia Spencer ended up being on the show. Ray Romano, blast from the motherfucking past, was on the show. And a few other cameos that came about. But really impressed with the show. I'm really excited to see what happens in season 3. I don't think I've watched any documentaries, like new documentaries. I have a list of TV shows to watch. Of course, everybody is watching Nemesis. I will check out Nemesis. Um, I've been watching the Eastern Conference Finals. Shout out to the Knicks. New York is about to go crazy. It would be really wild if New York won the chip. That's to my listeners in New York. I'm rooting for y'all. I'm rooting for the Knicks. I hope that y'all win it. New York deserves this ring really, really bad. New York really, really does. But like I said, y'all, I haven't really watched anything else that's too new because of everything that I've kind of been going through mentally. Also, I've been away from social media. Your girl has been, I'm like on this weird spectrum of either I have been thriving in certain areas of my life or I'm struggling in certain areas of my life. So it's just been a lot. Music wise, I haven't listened to I started listening to Kehlani's album. So far, I'm really impressed. Don't really like Ken the Man's new single. Sorry, man. But, my brother listens to this artist called Jay Worthy. I started listening to his stuff, been really enjoying it. It's very West Coast rap, but I think he's from the East Coast, but very West Coast rap sounding. Really enjoy it. I still have to listen to Duran's album. I was told not to listen to Ari's album because it's not good. I'm still gonna listen to it though. And for shits and giggles, let's talk about it. I haven't listened to all 3 of the Drake albums. My goal is to listen to the Drake albums, all of them this weekend. But I've also been reading. Oh, we're gonna talk about books today. We're gonna talk about books. But I started listening to Drake's Maid of Honor album, and what it gives me is it's a something for the hoes album. That's what I get. It is definitely a something for the hoes type of album. And I'm not really impressed. I only like one song off of the album, and I'm not impressed so far. My homegirl told me to listen to Iceman. Actually, a few of my homegirls told me to listen to Iceman. So I'm gonna listen to it this weekend. When I do next week's episode, I'll be sure to give my thoughts. I'm also gonna write down a list of ooh, excuse me, y'all, a list of songs that were my favorite if I find some songs that are my favorite. The only song that I saved from Maid of Honor is True Bestie. That's it. Says a lot. But I do want to slide into this new space. I am reading, and I am reading Curvy Girl Summer by Danielle Allen. It's not a smutty book. I will say that. The very beginning, I'm not gonna lie, the first chapter. Ooh, spicy. But I started reading it because one of my best girlfriends said that the title character, this is a 3-book series. So it's about the series in general is 3 best friends. They're all plus size girls and they're going through the rigmaroles of dating. And in this book, it's about Aaliyah, who's getting ready to turn 30. And she has a bet with her uncle that she can have a boyfriend or have a relationship by the time her 30th birthday party, and he will give her this grand prize. I'm not going to spoil it and tell y'all what the prize is. But it's really good. I absolutely see myself a lot in this character, a whole lot. And the thing that I love about this book, and I'm excited to really get into the series this summer, is that Aaliyah's character can dress her ass off. The way that I visualize her, she's this, and I don't visualize her the way that she is on the book cover, but I visualize her as this curvy, thick, like small waist, but big boobs, big butt, and she can dress like, and she dresses in such in a I don't want to say in a tasteful way, but she dresses in a way that is like full of so much confidence, full of so much life, and she has a variety of different outfits that are described on here. And they're all really cute outfits, stuff where I'm like, damn, bitch, where do you find that at? So I'm really impressed. There's only been one, maybe two little nasty scenes, and I'm on chapter 12. It's probably like 30 chapters in this book. But my goal is to finish all 3 books by the end of the summer. And I actually started not listening. I started reading this on Libby. Yeah, there's 25 chapters, so I'm at the halfway point. But I started reading this on Libby on my phone, and then I was like, I can't read this on my phone. It's too small. Y'all know I can't see. So I ended up getting the book, and I'm enjoying it a whole lot. Shout out to my homegirls that suggested that book. Actually, my best friend told me last summer to read this book, and I just now started reading it early this year. I want to say I started in like maybe February or March. So it takes me some time. Y'all know when I'm stressed, I just can't do anything. So, you know. But any hoozles, we get into our next little segment. I kind of like just slid through a lot of things. But we get into our next segment. And so my therapist said, and the week before last, I had therapy and we talked about me turning 37. We talked about dating. We talked about, my friendships, things like that. And the big takeaway from therapy this past week was, to enjoy life, to enjoy life. When I got my hair done for my birthday, I got my hair straightened. My hairstylist, who is older than me, my hairstylist was like, "So what you doing for your birthday? What you doing this year?" And I was like, I'm gonna save money. I'm gonna, I'm trying to make more money. And she looked at me, she said, No. She said, "What you doing?" She said, "What you doing that's fun? Like, what's something adventurous? Like, what are you gonna do for your what are you gonna do this year?" And I'm like, "Cheryl, what do you mean?" And she was like, "Do you have kids?" And I was like, "No." And then she was like, "Do you have a husband? Do you have a man?" And I was like, No. She said, "So why are you so pressed to save all this money and to be so strict with yourself?" And I was like, "I don't know, but you're kind of right." So she was like, "What is one thing you want to do this year, like in this new year of your life?" And I said, "I really want to go to Disney this year." And she said, "So make it happen. That's the thing that you're gonna do." She was like, "It's okay to save money. It's okay to wanna make more money." But she was like, "Don't be so stuffy on yourself. Don't be so stuck in one dimension, in one space." She was like, "Have all the fun, do all the things." She was like, "You young, you pretty." She was like, "Be outside, do the things." So I talked to my therapist about it and she absolutely agreed. But one of the things my therapist also told me was to stop. I don't wanna say pocket watching, but she essentially said, "I need to stop clocking how my friends and other people wanna show up for me, because I get very stressed about that around my birthday, and it's shown up a little bit more, and I feel like I talked about this in last week's episode, but we talked about it a whole lot more, especially because and so we had to talk about how that it shows up when I am talking to someone romantically. And another thing that she brought up, because we talk about like my people pleasing, we talk about all those things, and I get really anxious. I have an anxious attachment style. I don't like that I have an anxious attachment style, but the person that I'm seeing is making it easier for me to not feel anxious, right? So, love that for me. But one of the things my therapist was like, don't try to rush the process because you want to be in control. You want to control everything from how they speak to you, how they text you, how they show up for you, how you want to control everything. Stop trying to do that. You're trying to control it because of fear. And so I had to realize too that when you are healing from being a people pleaser, you still do some things out of survival. And I know that I try to control things or have a big hold on things because of that survival mode that I put myself in. So, like, when it comes to dating, I try to control the narrative because of what I've experienced in my past. I try to like really dissect things and I it's like I try to get ahead of the game so that if I get hurt, it's like I already saw this coming, so I won't be hurt as bad. Or I try to control like, well, if I act like this, then they'll act like this. And I've had to learn to not do that. And again, it is a survival tactic to, keep myself safe. You know what I'm saying? So I'm learning to let go a whole lot. And it's hard. It's hard to let go. It's hard to let go of control. It's hard to let go of expectations and to just go with the flow and to just receive and be taken care of and all the things. It's really difficult, but your girl is chucking along. If you've been listening to this podcast for almost 3 years, you know the journey that I've been through. And I hope that you're proud of me on this journey. But if you're a people pleaser, really kind of dig deep into yourself of, damn, do I really be controlling like that? And I'm sure also too, me being, and I know people like to say, astrology signs have nothing to do with it. Energy in the universe is real. Okay. I do feel like because I'm such a fixed earth sign, I dig my heels into something and I stay there. And that can be a problem. It's a gift and a curse. But I also try to control everything. And I really didn't know that until my homegirls brought it up. And they said, you try to dissect everything. You're stressing yourself out, trying to be in control and trying to protect yourself so much. Stop it. Chill out. You're gonna be okay, babe. So that's one of the things that I really learned from therapy and from my hairstylist this week that I'm really taking on into this year of dating, into this year of jobs and money and friendships and travel and, all of the things. Like, there are certain spaces in my life where I don't like to be in control. I don't like to pre-plan. I don't like to do all of those things. And there's certain spaces in my life where I'm like, "Oh, no, baby, I need to know everything that's going on." But I'm learning to let go, and I love that for me. So, since we're in this space, y'all, let's go ahead and segue into the things that I've learned at 36, but also the grieving that I've experienced since turning 37. So, if you follow me on social media, a lot of these you are already familiar with. You saw my series that I did 6 days before my birthday, just talking about, everything that I've learned, all of the things, but let's get into it. So, number one, I've learned that I'm not a good communicator, or I'm not as good of a communicator as I think that I am. You will not know how good of a communicator you are until you meet somebody that is also a good or not also, someone that truly is a good communicator, a direct communicator, a concise communicator. I, for a long time, was a really good communicator because I was the better communicator in the relationship. You know what I'm saying? But when you meet somebody or people that are just better communicators and you realize, wow, I got some shit I need to work on. So I realized I was not as good of a communicator as I thought. You're not fully healed and you never will be. You'll never be fully healed. There's always going to be something in life that's going to challenge you, and you have to learn how to move through it, how to move past it, how to grow from it. So you're never going to be fully healed. I know that when I do fully get into a relationship, I'm gonna have to keep being in therapy so that I can learn how to move through it and have support to move through it. Even if I have kids, if I get married, I may go through some things with homegirls, you know what I'm saying? So I have to remember I'm not fully healed and I may never be. And that's okay. Do the things scared and uncomfortable. This is one of those things that I'm doing scared and uncomfortable. YouTube has been a scary and uncomfortable place for me, but here we are. Here we are. And it's something that I've wanted to do for years, and I finally did it. And I've had to learn, even if I only have one person that watches my video every single week, I still need to do it. I still need to show up, do it uncomfortable, do it scared, do it feeling weird. It's going to be okay, because you're gonna be waiting for forever to get comfortable, to not be afraid, for things to be perfect. So, just do the things for him. Find your fashion that makes you feel great. That was my mission in 2025, was to be more fashion forward, and it's still my mission for 2026, to try different things, to try different colors, to try different cuts, to try different shoes, different hairstyles, which I did. I was so proud of myself. If you followed me on the socials in 2020, y'all remember when my brother got married and I had those knotless braids, I had the curl at the end, and I had the 350 and the 1B mix. I was so proud of myself for that. Y'all have no idea. Tried that. Tried different kinds of dresses, tried different kinds of tops and colors, and just, understanding that fashion is not a straight line. It's all over the place, but it's what you make it. And even one of my big things that I've gotten deeper into, this year, was getting my nails done. And I'm sorry, I need to get my nails done soon, but getting my nails done regularly was a very big thing for me when I turned 36. And I'm proud to say I've had different styles. I'm seeing what colors I like on myself, what lengths of nails I like on myself. My nails did get really long and I felt like a baddie. The only thing I didn't like is that I had trouble doing regular things like pulling my card out the ATM, trying to hold a screw. I can't tell you how many times I scratched, somebody. So I did cut them down for my birthday, and we'll see. I might grow them out a little bit more for the summertime, but this length actually is pretty good on me. I may go a little bit longer, as long as I can hit the girls with a little. I'm cool with it. I'm cool with it. The next one, stop being passive aggressive. That's something that I struggled with for a long time. I'm doing better. Being passive aggressive or not being passive aggressive goes into be a better communicator. And if you're not familiar with passive aggressive means, it's stuff like, say if somebody, okay, I love Pepsi, don't judge me. Say if I didn't communicate to someone that I wanted a Pepsi, and then somebody next to me that I'm cool with, they got a Pepsi, and I say like, damn, Must be nice to have a Pepsi. That's passive aggressive. Instead of saying, I want a Pepsi too. Can you get me a Pepsi? Or, whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like, or passive aggressive can be, I used to do this a lot and it's not cool that I do this, but when me and my ex were together, we were living together, I would slam the cabinets when I was mad. That was my signal of I'm upset with you versus just being like, "Hey, I don't like that thing that you did. It really hurt my feelings." And yeah, I did things like that. So stop being passive aggressive. Not everything is about you. I learned that I can't have the things when I want it because other people matter. I've had to learn, and this is not just for me turning 36. I've just had to learn that, like, while my feelings are important, other people's feelings are important too. I can be upset about something, but other people can be upset about something too. Like, I cannot assume, and this is not just in the romantic sense, I cannot assume, and I do this is why I bring this up, that if a friend text messages me and it's not in the same energy that I texted them, I cannot immediately think to myself, you're upset with me. I did something. It's not about you, baby. Maybe they're upset about their boss. Maybe they man pissed them off. It's not about you, doll babes. It's not always about you. Or, if someone cannot I just can't assume that everything that someone does has to do with me. I cannot assume that. And that is a space of trauma from childhood. But I cannot assume that everything in the world, the actions and reactions of people in the world or people in my world have to do with something about me. I'm not, no. And also, I cannot do things on my time. I have to respect other people's time and boundaries. Yeah, let's go on to the next one. Accept your body. Turning 36, I went through a lot with my body. I've gained weight, I lost weight, I've gone through so many things in this past year. And one thing that I've really had to really be press on myself, but be present with myself is that I have to accept my body. And I know this is something that I've been talking about for years, but as I get older, as my body is changing, as my body is doing new things, as I'm discovering new ailments, stuff like that, I have to accept my body for where my body currently is at. And I cannot compare my body to somebody else's body. Like I said, my body is going to go through changes as I get older. And who knows if I have children, well, my body's really going to change. So I have to learn how to accept my body now. Like, am I in a space where I would like to tighten it up? Of course, we all are. But I've had to learn when buying clothes, buy the clothes for how your body is now. Don't say, oh, I'm going to buy this so that when I fit, just like this weekend, my goal is to go through my closets and all of the things that no longer fit me, they're going to Goodwill. And that's okay. I have a tub, like a Target tub of clothes. I have a suitcase of clothes. I have 2 closets of clothes, and I have a dresser of clothes. So I need to go through all of those things and accept that my body may not be able to fit into certain things anymore, and that is okay. That is okay. But learning to accept your body now is going to be beneficial, as I said, when you gain weight, as you age, and not even just talking about weight, when you notice a little freckle or maybe your skin texture or tone is changing, or, I'm noticing because I'm a thicker girl, I get dark spots in certain places. So I have to accept I'm a thicker girl. I'm going to get these dark spots. I can correct it or I can, just keep it where it's at or, just anything, but just really learn to accept your body for where it is. Because I'm telling y'all, when I lost that weight, because I didn't accept my body for where my body was before I lost the weight, I couldn't even accept my new body. I didn't know what to do in my new body. Like, you know what I'm saying? So, I don't want to go back to the size that I was at my smallest. Do I wanna go back to my Puerto Rico weight? Probably. But, you know, we just learn to accept our bodies and move. So the next one, protein is important. So is all of the other macronutrients, protein, carbohydrates, fats. But as you get older, Protein is important. I remember in my late 20s, early 30s, and it's so crazy for me to say early 30s. I was dating a guy that well, we weren't even dating, we were just talking. And he was really big on like Dr. Sebi and protein. You don't need protein. Protein's propaganda. Blah, blah, blah. Now, are there some things where protein is propaganda? Absolutely. And I want y'all people that are on the GLP-1s and stuff, please be mindful and be careful because there are a lot of product placements where all they're doing is slapping the label of protein on items. Like I saw that they have protein Pop-Tarts. No, baby, don't do that. Be mindful of the propaganda, okay? They're just trying to like when not Jenny Craig, but Weight Watchers when Weight Watchers got big and all of these companies did Weight Watchers menus and Weight Watchers this and Weight Watchers that, they're doing the same thing with the GLP-1s and how GLP-1 people, and I hate to say people, but people that are taking GLP-1s, how they have to have protein. So these companies are creating the GLP-1 menu. There's nothing special about it. They literally just plucked these different things off, put it on this menu to say that it's great for people with GLP-1s because it has protein. For example, McDonald's has a GLP-1 menu. I just mentioned protein Pop-Tart. You know what I'm saying? So just please be mindful of those things. But protein is very important, especially for women. Start your day off with protein. I drink an 8-ounce cup of bone broth every morning, and then I have a Greek yogurt before I teach class. I can't teach class with a whole bunch of stuff on my stomach. So I'll do my Greek yogurt and I'll have my coffee. I stopped drinking coffee on an empty stomach. I only drink coffee when I have a little bit of food on my system. So protein is really important. Your body needs the protein, your hair, your skin, your nails. You need the protein. You need the muscle mass. It's very important. Practice a sustainable wellness routine and diet. Don't be working out 3, 4, 5 times a day and you can't maintain it 2 to 3 years from now. That's what happened to me. I was doing 2-a-days. I was working out damn near all day because I didn't have anything to do at work. Not sustainable, babes. Don't go into this life or whatever with a 1,500 calorie diet that you can't maintain and sustain. You're getting rid of all of your favorite foods and you're ignoring certain cravings and things that you like for this diet that you can't maintain or sustain. You're doing these workouts and you can't maintain or sustain the workouts. Make sure you pick something that you can do for an extended period of time. Maybe you can't do it for more than a year. Maybe you can't do it for 2 to 5 years, whatever. But like 75 hard, for example, it's not sustainable for a lot of y'all. Me too. It's not sustainable. And a lot of people just keep repeating 75 hard. And that's cool, but it's not sustainable. Think about your diet and your exercise routines that you're actually able to maintain and sustain. Don't follow the crowd. Don't do what everybody else is doing. You don't have to do what everybody else is doing. Don't feel bad because you're not doing what everybody else is doing. Stretching, very important. Very important for all you people that walk out of group exercise classes 15, 10, maybe even 7 minutes early. Stop it. You need to be stretching. I know you're not going home to stretch. Get a little mat, you can find a little YouTube stretching video. You know what I'm saying? Stretch. Very important. Please. You need to start practicing healthy habits for the next decade of your life. I will say that was probably the greatest piece of advice that my ex gave me is that the person that you are now is preparing you for the person you're going to be in the next decade. So if you are unhealthy in this moment and you continue being unhealthy, you're going to walk into the next decade unhealthy. I'm 3 years away from 40. So my goal is to walk into the next decade as healthy as possible, as financially independent as possible. So I have to prepare for that now. But that's why the stretching and stuff is important because you want to have range of motion in your next decade of life. Okay. You can't eat what you ate in your 20s. I ate McDonald's maybe a couple weeks ago. Felt that McDonald's on my stomach for 4 days. Gut health is very important and get the right information when it comes to gut health. And if we look from a holistic standpoint about gut health, your gut literally connects everything, right? But your gut health tells you, not tells you, but it will show up on your skin, your hair, your energy, how you move, things like that. So be very mindful of your gut health, but also your gut health is connected to your intuition. So if your gut is all out of whack and stuff, usually spiritually, energetically, it's not going to be a great thing there either. But really get in control of your gut health. That's why I drink bone broth in the mornings. That's something that helps me. I take my vitamins. I try to be also mindful of not having a lot of high fructose sugars in what's it called? Fast absorbing sugars. So not a lot of candies, white starches, sodas, even though I got a Pepsi in the fridge. But be very mindful of those things. Know how your gut reacts to different foods. Take the time to slow down, pay attention to the way that your body is reacting. So, next one, make your own dating rules, babes. Stop listening to these people on social media. Social media got us all tweaking. I'm learning that now. Make your own dating rules, and that's okay. You can take bits and pieces of what you see on social media, maybe what you learn from other people, but make your own dating rules. Not every man is your husband. Not every man is your husband. I had to learn that this year. That's okay. Someone will be. Someone will be. But every single man that you meet is not. And I've met, like I said, I'm 37. I've met men in my past that I thought, wow, this thing he could be. No, baby. Not every man is meant to be your husband. Communication is key once again in dating. Communication, effective communication. Speak your mind. Say how you feel. If the person doesn't like the way that you speak your mind, especially if you're speaking your mind respectfully, if they don't like the way that you express yourself, speak your mind, whatever, maybe they're not for you, babes. That's okay. Know your core values and your deal breakers. What do you value? And this is part of like the dating side of like things that I've learned. But you have to be compatible on your values. That is where relationships really last. And I learned that, realized that me and my previous relationship, we didn't share the same values of things. And there were a lot of deal breakers. There are a lot of red flags that your girl ignored. So make sure that you are aware of the core values and the deal breakers. Honor your own boundaries. Someone's not going to honor your boundaries if you don't honor your own boundaries. Remember that. Also, know what your boundaries are too. Slow burns are awesome. Slow burns are awesome. It's fun. It's fun. Taking your time is really fun. Consult with your friends when there's something that feels uncomfortable, or even if you're excited about something, or maybe there's a peach flag that you're like, I don't know if this is red. I don't know if this is green. I don't know if this is yellow. Talk to your friends about it. See what they think. One of the biggest regrets that I have in my previous relationship is not talking to my friends about it. If I had talked to my friends about everything fully, I probably wouldn't have been in that relationship as long as I was. No is a complete sentence, period. Treat yourself, but not too much. So, like, for example, I've been working really hard. I'm probably going to take myself to the movies at some point in the next couple of days. Treat yourself, have a Pepsi. Treat yourself, get a new lip gloss. Treat yourself, but again, not too much. And this segues into the next thing: budget, budget, budget. Have a budget. Know where your money is going. The goal for me is to not live in a space where I'm paycheck to paycheck. And I spend a lot of my money on. For me, if I am like down to my last dollar, I'm gonna go get something to eat. So I have to. That is something that I've learned. I have to work on. This is why I say budget, 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 budget. Know your budget, have your bank account set up. Are you doing a snowball debt thing? Are you doing the 50-30-20? Are you doing the 50-25-25? What does your budget look like? What is important for you in your financial, like, I don't want to say your financial splurge space. And actually, maybe that is what I'm trying to say. What is important for you that you have to have every single month? My grooming is important. My nails are expensive. Why didn't y'all tell me how expensive it is to get your nails done? I paid one time, and I gag when I think about this. My refill. I had to get a refill. I had to get some new, I had to get some like new nails put on. I had to get new acrylic, all of that. And then my toes was $58. I spent $200 on my toes and my hands. And I got designs on my hands. And that's also why I'm thinking about keeping my nails like this length. 'Cause this was 75. $75. This was a refill. $75. Okay. Just know what's important for you in your budget. You're not everyone's preference, and that's okay. And I'm learning in dating, date men that find you as their preference. Date men that look at you as you are even down to the body type, the skin tone, natural hair, not natural hair, makeup, no makeup, whatever. Make sure that you are dating people that find you as their preference. And it's so refreshing, like dating men that look at you as like, this is what I've wanted. Like, you are like my type up and down, whatever, whatever. But it be okay with not being everybody's preference. Like, I think I'm a good looking girl. Not everybody is going to think that I am a really good looking girl. Like, or like everybody, of course, thinks I'm pretty, but the person that I know who I'm their preference is gonna think, my God, she's so pretty. Just like I date men that are my preference. And for years, I have dated men that were not my preference, but I date men that are my preference. For men that are loud, men that are a little quirky, men that are a little nerdy. I prefer, you know, very intellectual men. I have a huge, weird crush on, I watch his little CNN like snippet when he was talking about Cheesecake Factory an ungodly number of times. Also, have a crush, and he's a way older guy. My bad, older guy. Dr. Todd Boyd. He is a professor out of USC, and he's been on some of my favorite documentaries. Love him down. But those are kind of men that I prefer, like men that march to the beat of their own drum. They know that they're nerdy and quirky and things like that. I love those kind of guys. Oh my God. Love a shortcut. Low cut seasons with the deep waves. Love that. Okay. Just throwing my preference out. Don't isolate yourself. You can have space, but don't isolate. Isolation gets a little dangerous, babes. Can lead to some things that's not good. Learn to pivot and adapt. This goes back to me learning to not be in control all the time. I've had to learn how to pivot and adapt this year. When things I thought were going to go one way ended up going a different way. So I've had to learn how to flip shit around and make shit work. You know what I mean? I've had to learn how to squeeze juice out of a turnip. You know what I'm saying? Like, I've had to learn to just make shit shake. Learn to pivot and to adapt. Rest, baby, rest. Rest. I've been doing a lot of resting. Rest. You don't have to be on go all the time, and that's something that me and my therapist talk about a lot. You don't have to be on go all the time. I've learned I don't take enough time to decompress when I get home from. Sometimes I will get off, go right to the gym, come home, and just start doing things. Lately, and this is also why I've kind of been like hiatusing from podcasting. Lately, I'll come home and I lay on this couch and I take a little nap. Or I just lay and I watch cartoons. Or I lay and I watch something that feels good that just brings my nervous system down. And then I cook dinner and then I do all of the things. So just want to throw that out there. Be yourself, baby. Be yourself. I am quirky. I am, as my homegirls say, I'm corny. But I also like corny men. I like men that do corny, like, things. Like, I like cutie poop men. Like, I love shit like that because I'm cutie poop. But I'm quirky. I'm very nerdy. Y'all know I love trivia. I love documentaries. I love learning. Like, I'm pretty quirky. I'm loud. I'm very gregarious. I am very animated. I'm just so many things, and I've learned to be myself, and I've learned to love myself for it. Be yourself. Be yourself. Everybody else is taken. It's okay to ask for help. Somebody needed to hear that. It's okay to ask for help. I remember for years, actually not for years. I'm going to share a story. 2023, not 2023, 2022. I felt like I hit rock bottom. I felt like I hit the rockiest, bottomest of my life. I think I was turning 33. I turned 33 that year. Rock bottom, baby. I had no job. I barely had money. I was living with my ex. He was ugh. And I didn't have money to pay rent. It was so much going on. And I remember talking to my girlfriends, and I'm going through it. And I was like, y'all, I may go to a shelter tonight. When I say everybody, And they were like, "It's like, why do you think we would let you do that?" And I'm just like, "'Cause I don't ask for help because I don't want someone to then hold that over my head forever." Now me, people can help me and they do it out of the kindness of their heart, and I still will feel this, like, looming, like, I owe everybody. I still feel that, and it's been 4 years. Girlfriends have sent me money, and I'm still in my brain, I have to pay shorty back for this money, you know what I'm saying? So but it's okay to ask for help. It's okay to say that you need help, and it doesn't have to be always be like a financial help. It could just be, I need help with a task. I need help with this thing that feels difficult. I need help because emotionally I'm whatever. Ask for the help. Just ask for help from somebody that has struggled for years, asking for help. Take advice that is relevant for you. As my homegirl says, chew the meat, spit out the bones. It's just like when y'all are seeing these things on social media, and just like me telling y'all all of this shit, chew the meat, spit out the bones. Take what is relevant for you. Not everything is meant for you. You are deserving of all of the wonderful, awesome, amazing things that life has to offer you. I really learned that this year. I'm deserving of so much. I'm deserving of kindness. I'm deserving of consideration. I'm deserving of love. I'm deserving of success. I'm deserving of recognition. I'm deserving to be celebrated. I am reminding myself that I deserve all of these things. I'm deserving of it. And when I experience it, it's okay that I'm experiencing it and I don't have to feel bad about it. You don't need to read sorry, my handwriting. You don't need to react to everything. Every action doesn't need a reaction. You don't need to have the last word. And one of my problems is that I like to have the last word, and I get that from my daddy. We're the same way. We be back and forth, last word. And he said it too. "How come you always got" because I do. I've had to learn and think it's okay to just shut the fuck up. It's okay. You don't have to react to everything, babes. It's even like social media, and I think I've learned that when those men were, like, trolling me really bad on social media, you don't have to react to everything. Just because I said something, you don't have to react to that. You don't have to react to that. Calm your tits. You don't have to react to that. Don't wait to live life. Don't wait for a person to live life. Don't wait for you to reach a particular point in your life to live life. Live your life now. Shout out to Cheryl for that one. Know what success feels like for you. What is success truly? Are you getting caught up in what society says that success looks like? Are you inheriting what your family says that should look like? Know what success looks like and feels like for you. I've moved into the space of, what does success feel like? What does it feel like in my body? You know what I'm saying? Because you can be successful and be stressed. You could be society's version of successful and be stressed. You could be society's version of a successful body, successful job, all of the things, but you're dying inside. I know because I experienced that. Moderation on your foods. Have the foods that you like. I got Pringles sitting right back here, baby. Moderation. Moderation is key. Know your parents' health history. Girls, ask your mama when she hit menopause. If she ain't hit, if she is in menopause, ask her when menopause started for her. Ask her what those symptoms feel like. Did your mother hit perimenopause? Fellas, talk to your father about the hair loss thing. Even though I think hair loss comes from your mom, but talk to your fathers about hair loss. Talk to your family about, you know, cholesterol, heart disease, diabetes, cancer. Talk to your families. Talk if your grandparents are still alive, talk to your grandparents. I learned when I was turning 35, all of the women on my mother's side of the family have gallbladder issues. I should have known that ahead of time. I didn't know that. And I remember my dad, because we went to the hospital, I thought I was having a heart attack. We went to the hospital, and when the doctor was like, "Yeah, you have these gallbladder issues," and also, for those that don't know, my mother is in remission from gallbladder cancer. And shout out to my girl. Shout out to my girl. And when the doctor said, "Yeah, you have gallstones," and he was like, "You have to be mindful on like the greasy foods." Now, one thing I do notice, if I eat something a little too greasy, my tummy will say, "Hey, hey, cut it out." But my dad said, "Oh, you're officially a part of the Yaya sisterhood." And I was like, "What are you talking about?" He was like, "Well, your mother, your grandmother, your aunt, your grandmother's sisters, they all got gallbladder issues." He said, "Congratulations, you're now part of the crew." Damn. You know what I'm saying? But little things, just talk to your family about your family's medical. A mental health history. Okay. That's also something that's important to add into deal breakers if you're, like, dating. Understand the person that you're dating, understand their mental health history and their family's mental health history. Okay. Understand if they have addictions that run in their family. Okay. Just pay for the convenience. Pay for the convenience. I'm the type of person, I will not pay for a carry-on bag, like a check bag. I will pack that little personal bag, get on that plane, but pay for the convenience. There are times where I'd be like, "Oh, Imma just take the bus and the train to the other side of the city." I could easily pay for a Uber or a Zip car or Free to Move. I've learned to pay for the convenience because being able to move a little bit more freely and move a little bit more quickly is so much better. Oh my god. Pay for the convenience. Sometimes I got also learned when I took them braids out that I just had, pay for the convenience. I'm paying for a takedown service from now on. Especially if I get small braids, I'm paying for a takedown service. It took me 8 hours to take braids out of my hair. The world needs more god mommies and god daddies. Do not feel any kind of way because you do not have children as of yet. Me and my dad went to brunch and we were talking about kids and we was lit. We were lit at that brunch. Just me and my dad. We need another lit brunch. Me and my dad need to go to brunch again because that joint was mad fun. But he was like, don't feel bad because you don't have kids. Or he's like, maybe you won't have kids. But he was like, everybody needs a godmom. Godmothers have a certain emotional capacity, mental capacity, physical capacity that they can give, and they can give it out in multiple ways to multiple children. He said, "Do not feel bad." He said, because my dad he went to live with his godmother when he was like a teenager. And he learned a lot of life skills from his godmother and from his aunt. And that was life changing for him. And he said, if you don't have kids, it's fine. Just know that you can still change lives. You can still be maternal. You can still offer whatever. But godmothers and godfathers are still very important. And then the last one, protect your family's legacy. My father has worked very hard. My mother has too, but my father has worked very hard to break generational curses. You know what I'm saying? And I will not sacrifice my father's hard work. And I've emphasized my father because he's the head of our household. He's the head of our family. We have his last name. Okay. But I will not derail my father's hard work. And I say that not just from the space of finances. I also say that from the space of growth, emotional growth, mental growth. One thing my dad has always said when me and my brother were kids is that the next generation has to exceed the previous generation. And my father has always been setting me and my brother up to supersede him. I'm probably using that word incorrectly, but to exceed what he has done. And as I think about being partnered and possibly married and all of these things, I'm now learning that for my family's protection and legacy, I have to be very mindful of the type of person that I bring into my family, but also the type of safety net that I'm going to put around my family, depending upon who I get with. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, my daddy has worked hard and he has dreams of things for us that he wants us to experience, even when he's no longer on this earth. And I remember I went to Carousel with my homegirl and we were in the water and this older white lady came up to us. It was this group of white women, older ladies, and they were having a ball, baby, having a ball. And one of the ladies, she came out, she was in the water too. She came and talked to us and she was like, "You girls don't look barely above 30." Like, and I think at the time I was 34. No, I was 35, turning 36. And Maya was just turning 32. And the lady was telling us, she was like, she was in the middle, I think she was in the middle of a divorce or like she was a couple of years past her divorce. And she was like, "Do you girls mind if I give you a little piece of advice?" And we're like, "Yeah." And she said, "If your family has assets, if you have a trust, if you know you're getting an inheritance," she was like, "When you're getting married, as much as, people don't wanna get prenups, they don't wanna do all those things, get a prenup. Protect what your daddies have created for your family. And it really stuck with me. And more of the story that she told was just that her ex-husband, he like took all of her inheritance money and did some foolishness. And when she told us this story, it really sat with me. It really resonated with me because I was in the midst previously, like maybe a year or two previous when me and my ex were breaking up, and he wanted to take my business. And I remember telling my dad about it. My dad was like, "Y'all not married?" So what he thought, what? And I said, "I know." And so me and my dad had the conversation about prenuptials and all of those things. And me as the eldest child, I unconsciously tasked with the protection of my family. And that was one of the things that I just really learned this year is how important it is to protect my family. So, those are all of the things that I've learned since turning 36. I mean, well, during the year of me turning 36. And I hope that it resonated with you. I hope that you were able to chew some of the meat and spit out some of the bones. One of the things that I've experienced the night before I turned 37, I was on the phone with a homegirl and one of my best homegirls. And she was asking, like, how does it feel you're turning 37? And I got really emotional and I started to cry. And I told my sister bestie this too. And I was like, my life is not anywhere near where I thought it was going to be. If my inner child, and I know my inner child was screaming on the inside, my inner child is more so like, where's our family? Where is the corporate lawyer job? Because I thought I was going to be a corporate lawyer. I knew I was going to be a lawyer for Pepsi. I just knew I was. And my inner child is just like, girl, what are you doing? And there's grief in seeing other people live life in a particular type of way. There's grief in not being where society says that you should be. There is grief in, I don't want to say grief in singleness, but there's grief in being by yourself sometimes. It has a little bit of sadness sometimes, especially because like for me, I'm a very extroverted person. So I love being around people. I love hosting. I love doing things, right? But I didn't realize that it was true grief until one of my members, we were talking. She asked, I hadn't seen her in a while. And she was like, how are you doing? You just had a birthday. And I was like, I'm good. I said, honestly, and she said, had such a comforting spirit. And I said, honestly, I've been really dealing with I feel like it's grief of what I thought my life was gonna be. And she said, "How old did you just turn?" And I said, "I just turned 37." And she said, "I went through the same exact thing when I turned 37." She said, "I'm gonna be 40 next year." And I went through that grief. I went through the grief of, my younger brother got married and my younger brother is married. And she was like, I went through the grief of my younger brother having children. I went through the grief of, not being in a space career wise where I feel happy and feel fulfilled and aligned. I went through so much grief. And, you know, I think the biggest piece of grief that I felt in that moment the night before my birthday was I'm like, I have so much to give. And I felt like, I have no one to give it to. And I'm learning I can give it to you all. I can give it to my friends. I can give it to my family, right? And I can give it to the right person that wants to receive the love and all of the things that I have. You know what I'm saying? But speaking to her and really being able to put the words to what I had been feeling for the past couple of weeks, it was really refreshing. And it gave me the oomph and the drive to live a little bit more and to not live from the space of what if and why not and how come, and to live more in the space of I will, I can, I'm going to, and just live a little bit more. It's scary because that also means I have to take my hands off of the handlebars of life and to accept that I could be an older mother. I could be, not could be, but I could be an older wife if, I'm so blessed to be somebody's wife. I could just be so much older things, but I'm learning to live, and to not live in the space of regret. And it's understandable. It's life. You're going to grieve. when you're ending that expectation that you had for yourself, when you're ending a season, when you're entering a new season. I'm entering a new season. I'm entering what I feel like is this new portal in my life that I'm walking into, and it's very nerve-wracking. It's exciting, but it's nerve-wracking. But finally being able to put the words together that I've really truly been experiencing a level of grief over the last couple of weeks since turning 37, and it's only been like 2 weeks, y'all. But it's been just a refreshing thing. I like that I finally have the language to put with my feelings. And somebody else may be going through that grief. Somebody else may be going through the feelings of like, damn, I'm really turning this age and I didn't do this, I didn't do that. I haven't done this, I didn't experience this, and blah, 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 blah. Everybody else is doing this and I'm not doing this. It's okay. I'm learning it is okay. Everybody's life is meant to be lived in a different type of way, in a different type of fashion. It's okay. And it's okay to sit in that grief. And one of the things that she told me too was it's okay to just sit in your emotions. Like the other day, yesterday, I was off from work and I was meditating, I was praying, and I cried and just was like, just happiness of the things that I'm currently receiving, the energy that I'm receiving, the levels of peace, even though there's places in my life where I don't have peace right now. But the levels and the amounts of peace that I am truly receiving have been so great and have been so wonderful. And I'm just so grateful. And I think I'm just really glad that I was able to pinpoint with the help of somebody else. And for me, essentially saying I needed help because I didn't know what to do, that this wonderful person was able to kind of come through and just say, "This is what you're dealing with, babes. I dealt with this and it's okay." So somebody else could be dealing with a level of grief. I don't know if you're turning 37, maybe you're turning 35, maybe you're turning 40 this year. Shout out to my bestie. She's turning 40 this year. Um, but it's okay to have that grief. It's a-okay. And we learn how to move through grief and we learn how to accept it. So I hope that this episode did something for you. I hope that it inspired you. I hope that you chewed the meat and spit out. As always, if you would like to comment on this episode, if you're watching on YouTube, leave a little comment down below. Remember, if you're listening on Apple, Spotify, iHeartRadio, don't forget to like, rate, review, subscribe. Tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend. Don't forget also, you can email me, redefiningwellnesspod@gmail.com. Share your thoughts, share your feelings. How did you like this episode? How are you liking the episodes? The great things that are coming. I'm getting myself back on track. June 1st is 100 Days of Happy. So every day I'll be posting one thing that made me happy every single day from June 1st until we get to day 100. Shout out to my friend Mo that actually did that years ago, and I did it one year and it was so dope. I think I did that in 2018. And I'm gonna do it again. It's gonna help me to find my creative juices, to find my flow and all of the things. So if you want to join me on that, let's do it together. Shoot me an email once again, redefiningwellnesspod@gmail.com. Thank you all so much for listening. Thank you for watching. Thank you for engaging. And as always, thank you for being uniquely fit. See ya.